Bonjour, Kinamagi and Ireland Cast, and welcome to the latest episode of the My Math Network. Today's episode featuring Chapter 12, Lesson 9, Volume of Prisms. The essential question for all of Chapter 12, how does geometry help me solve problems in everyday life? And before we get into the lesson, you will want to make sure that you have the Lesson 9 document. It begins on page 955. I'll have that available to you so that when we begin the lesson, you're ready to go. If you need to pause the video to do such, feel free to do it now. So let's begin in the lesson today. What formula can you use to find the volume of rectangular prisms? Well, if you were with us in our previous episode, we realized that we can use the formula of volume equals length times width times height. Or V equals L times W times H. You see it here. And we have a figure here, 12, 18, and 7. And I can start picking the numbers out. Do we go 7 and 12? You could, or if it's 12 and it varies. But either way, you're going to want to make sure all three numbers get in here. Most likely the tall side, we always make the height, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm going to fill these in here. So you can see our length is 7, our width is 12, and our height is 18. This is where we're starting to get to the point where calculators could be of assistance in order to solve these problems. Now, if you're practicing your multiplication skills, continue to practice that, but then maybe check it with a calculator. Some things in math are algorithms matter. Sometimes the correct answer matters. It's one of those times. So you can see that when we multiply those all together, we get 1,512 cubic centimeters, which is written as cm cubed. Remember, that exponent shouldn't be down here. It needs to be raised above, and it might be a little smaller than your C or your M. So the volume of the rectangular prism shown is 240 cubic feet. Use the formula. Well, what you can do here is we know that 240 equals 6 times 5 times, and I'm going to try to use the fancy L. And you're going to learn a lot about how to undo things. We can start putting together 240, and 6 times 5 is 30, times L. I still want to get rid of this 30 so that L is alone and I have an answer. So the inverse operation of multiplication is division. I can divide both sides by 30. So 30 divided by 30 is 1. That's going to leave the L alone. And then I cross out a 0 here. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So my missing side is 8 feet long. You're going to want to really master this skill next school year, knowing to use inverse operations to find the missing number. And on this one, fortunately, we didn't even need a calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. All right, so now we're going to be on 955. The expectation is that you will fill these in as we go, and that'll allow you to kind of keep up with the lesson and be focused, and also to see what it is that you might have questions on at a later point. And on 955, we do have one highlighted word, and it is volume. It's the amount of space inside a three-dimensional figure. You could use cubic unit cubes, but we can use the formula here. And you see on the top of the page, you've got V equals L times W times H. Or you could put the length and width together, like the 15 and 30, and call that the base. So base equals volume equals base times height. I would recommend at the beginning that we use this, but let's look through both ways. So we can put our numbers in. The length is 30, our width is 15, and our height is 20. We multiply those together. I would probably go 20 times 30 in my head first, because that's 600 times 15 makes 6,000. 9,000 cubic inches. Calculators are fine there, but you could do a lot of this math mentally if you've been kind of practicing that throughout the school year. So make sure you've written that in. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and do such. Welcome back. Let's see what we have here. Moving on. The other way is to go base times height. So 15 times 30, which is going to be 450 times 20. 45 times 2 is 90. Add the 2 zeros and you get 9,000. Either one of those work. As you're getting used to it, I recommend the length times width times height. That way you're kind of seeing where the numbers go, where they come from. But if you have an easy one, okay. Both are allowable unless the paper tells you to use one particular way. All right, you should have that written in. If not, you should pause the video. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the top of 956. And we have example niche. And we have the length times width times height. We've got the numbers in. And now they're going to give you a way to kind of group them together. And I'm going to bring it up here. So putting the 7 times 9 together, you get 63. So we can go 63 times 17. So these two, it doesn't matter that they aren't the base, to be completely honest with you. We're just pretending now that 9 and 7 might have been the base and this is the height. It really doesn't matter how we group them. They're going to get the same answer. This is, again, where calculators, like I said, might be useful. Or you can use your standard algorithm and you get 1,071 cubic centimeters. All right, let's move on. If you need to pause the video, always just do it. We have guided practice on 956. So what are our sides here? We have 11 millimeters times 7 millimeters times 9 millimeters. What are those going to be multiplied together? Well, let's find out in a second. $63 times 11 is 693. And if you think about it, 63 times 10 is 630 plus another 63 will give you 693. Over here, they went base times height. 4 times 6 is 24, times 12 is 288. What I really want to make sure you get out of all of this is the fact that you got to multiply all the numbers. All three numbers are going to help you make it there. If you know the area of the base of a rectangular prism and its height, which formula would you use? Well, I'd use the base times height. You've already got it there. You're one step closer. Instead of multiplying three numbers, you're multiplying 2. All right, let's go ahead and do some practice. I'm going to put some problems up here. You are welcome to use the length times width times height or the base times height. You're going to pause the video, solve these two problems, unpause the video when you're ready. You may pause the video now. Welcome back. We had 2 times 4, which is 8, times 3 is 24 inches cubed. And we use whatever measurement it is here. So this is inches, this is centimeters. 12 times 26 times 3 is 936. All right, pause the video and let's do these two. See you on the other side. Welcome back. On this one, we had 11 times 11 times 11. By the way, if these are all 11, do you know what shape this is? You're right, they're all congruent. This is going to be a cube. This one is not all congruent, so we just called that a rectangular prism. But this one is a square prism, which is a cube, and 11 cubed is 1,331. On this one, we're going to multiply these three numbers together and you get 3,312. And let's do two more problems. You may pause the video now. Welcome back. We already had the base there, so the base times 108 times 9 is 972. 9 times 100 is 900. 9 times 8 is 72. Put them together. And this one we had 90 times 11. Should be 900 plus another group of 90. 990. Make sure that you do have the cube. If you do not have the cube, I am marking it wrong because this is not 972 inches in length. It's a cubic measurement. Looking at the homework, we do have the formula here, although this is the length times width, and then you might combine those two to do the base if necessary, like on number 2. And just do this times 4. You're going to find the volume here. Make sure you write it in yards cubed or centimeters cubed. Vocab check. We got some problems here to use your formula on, and that's where we'll be. When you've completed the assignment, please turn it in the classroom, or you may scan it and email it to me, or take a picture of both sides with name on both sides and text it to me. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at mireland@sagchipschool.net. Hope you all have a mental guide. Meanwhile, Baba P.